Good morning, Amber Eagles. Happy Tuesday. Today is Autism Awareness Day, and it is actually Autism Awareness Month, the month of April. And I wanted to take some time to talk about it today. I saw a lot of you this morning walking through, and you were wearing blue. And I am so very proud of you, one, for reading the newsletter, and two, for wearing your blue. And a lot of people are like, but Mr. Dell, why? And that's the perfect question. The question is why? Why do we wear certain colors on certain days? And the whole point is that we talk about things. Whatever the event is so that it brings up more questions and then you get more answers. One of the hardest thing in life is when you might be a little different than somebody else and someone points and stares instead of just asking the right questions. So we wear the colors, we wear blue for autism so that you get more information. You ask the question why, and then people teach you about it. And then you don't have to point and stare because you have the information that you need. You may always ask about someone. You may ask them to tell you their story. You may ask your parents or your teacher. They may say, we don't want to share it with you, and that's totally fine. And you only ask once and then you walk away. You can do your own research. But pointing, staring, making fun of, laughing, excluding, that's not finding out more information. That's not being a good human. And that is the whole goal here is how do we treat others with respect and kindness, even when we may not understand them. Some students with autism, it is a communication disorder. So some students with autism may not speak or they speak very loudly. Sometimes their emotions are so much bigger than they are and that we are. And so you're like, hey, wait, why is that person screaming or yelling? It's not even that big of a deal, but it's the way that they're processing things and the way that they're able to communicate. Sometimes people with autism have sensory concerns. And so if it's too loud, they might become louder, or they might run and take off and run, or they might, there's a lot of things that someone might do if there's sensory concerns. Their tags might bother them in their clothes, or their shirts may bother them, their socks may not be right. And what might just be irritation to you could ruin their whole entire day. Sometimes students with autism, they like their schedule, their routine, and when that's off, it kind of creates a meltdown. And you're like, but hey, a lot of things you said is me. And that's true. A lot of the signs of in autism, we all have a little bit of it. We don't really like it when our clothes don't fit right or if our schedule is off. But it's sometimes how we communicate, how students with autism communicate, how they process their feelings, or they have a struggle with that communication and that processing of feelings. And so we help in various different ways. We don't do things for people with disabilities, we do it with them. And so you may say, hey, would you like to come play with me and with the play food at recess, or do you want to go swing on the swings? Did you know students with autism, a lot of them really like to swing on the swings. That makes them feel really good. So even if it's not your favorite thing, it might be something for you to do to invite them to get to know them. And even if they're not talking to you, maybe it's a good time just to sit and swing, but you're including them in your playtime, and that is the best thing ever. You may include them at your lunch table. Maybe they don't say anything, or maybe they're different than the group that you're used to sitting with, but you're still including them as a part of your table group. Not everyone has to have a lot of words to be your friend. Sometimes it's just good company. So I challenge you today to watch the video that I have attached below and learn something new about autism. And when you don't understand why is a person behaving or communicating or showing different things that you're like, hey, that's kind of odd and weird, ask the right questions. Sometimes when I'm out in public with my son, people stop and stare. And the number one person to do it is actually adults. And so I hope that you grow up into good adults that don't do that don't stop and stare, and that don't sit there and roll their eyes and say, oh, why are they acting like that? But instead you say, how can I help? Can I offer you a hand? Hey, I don't know much about this, but I'm going to go learn. And that's what we want you to do is take the time to learn about things that you're not familiar with so that you have the knowledge that you are helpful in other situations. And I know as leaders, you'll do an excellent job of that. So watch the video below, and there's other videos on the YouTube with old books that I have posted. So make sure you watch those. And when you see me today, come tell me something that you've learned about autism. I cannot wait to hear it. I love you, and I hope you have a great day. You're loved.